So what led you to figuring out some of the answers, like finding out that this was social anxiety?
I didn't actually have any idea. So let's just assume that, for argument's sake, I had some sort of full-blown social anxiety from the time I was 16, 17 years old. Uh, I had seen some counselors in not community college, but when I went on to the university, I did take advantage of some of their counseling services through the college, and they, talked about it more in a form of, you just kind of have these speech anxieties, or you kind of have, specific anxieties. Everybody feels this way, when it's the number one fear, like a lot of people would say they fear speaking more than death. So a lot of them, I wouldn't say they were brushing over it, but they were kind of missing the core point, because I remember being prescribed different, anxiety medications to keep me calm when I'm going into these situations. I even remember sometimes I would have like a couple of beers if I knew I had to go into a speech, because the anxiety was so severe. I knew that was maybe the only way I was going to get through it. So that was basically like my college experience in the nutshell. But then after college, moved down to Arizona, and I knew this was a problem. I kept doing the self-help books. There's this Diagonally Parked in a Parallel Universe book I remember reading. The Hidden Face of Shyness. I read a lot of Ellis's books, Albert Ellis. So I was starting to kind of educate myself, but yet at the same time, maybe at this point I had heard of social anxiety, but I did not know per se if I had the full-blown social anxiety. Felt like probably, but didn't know for sure. I wasn't a doctor. I couldn't diagnose that kind of thing myself. But then, shortly after college, moving to Arizona, getting on the web and really starting to research social anxiety at that point. And it wasn't long after that I came to the Social Anxiety Institute webpage informations. And I remember when I hit that site, basically reading everything. I mean, I may have been I don't remember. Happened like in a split second, but I probably was in front of the computer 4 hours or something that day, just reading everything and being like, man. I remember emailing Dr. Richards and saying like, wow, this is really hitting some major points on what I've been experiencing. And I remember having an email dialogue for him for some time before he actually finally sent me an email and just said, why don't you come in for an initial intake appointment, just to let's see where you're at. And then that's when started coming to the groups. So.